Hello students, today we're going to look at adding and subtracting integers. And if you remember from a few lessons ago, about 3 weeks ago, we talked about integers and that those are just positive and negative numbers. Today we're going to look at how to add and subtract them. This may be a bit of a review for some of you, but it might be brand new for some of you. So make sure that you're paying close attention and copying down. Okay, there are a couple different ways that we can look at a picture of adding and subtracting integers. It's called a model sometimes. One way is a number line, and one way is through counter tiles or colored counters or these dots right here. Okay, so go ahead and copy this, and then I want to chat with you. On the number line, the number lines can be a little bit tricky to see integers on, and so every time I see a number line, I write a P over on the positive side and an N over on the negative side. And I remember when I am adding, I'm wanting more of something. When I'm subtracting, I'm wanting less of something. So if I get a number sentence that looks like three plus 2, it's addition, so I want more of something. What do I want more of? Well, I'm going to look at the very next number and see, is it positive or is it negative? It's positive, so I want more positives. When you want more of something, you're going to go towards it. So for this 3 plus 2, my number line is going to go in the right direction. I'm headed toward positive because I want more positives. Look at this one. What if I want 3 minus negative 2? 3 minus negative 2. Minus means I want less of something. What do I want less of? Well, I want less negatives. So if I want less of something, am I going to go toward it or am I going to go away from it? When I put these P's and N's, it helps me to see, okay, what is it that I'm trying to go toward and what am I running away from? If I want less negatives, I'm going to go away from it, right? So I want to go away from negatives, which means I'm still headed in the positive direction. Even though it looks like it should be negative, since I want less of them, I'm headed toward the positive. If I want 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2, that means I want to go less positive. This 2 does not have another negative sign in front of it. That makes it a positive 2. I want less positive. Well, if I want less positive, then I want to go away from the positive, which makes me going toward the negative direction. And that makes sense. We know 3 minus 2, we're headed back negative to get that solution. And then the last one I want to look at is 3 plus negative 2. I want more, because add means more. I want more negatives. Well, if I want more negatives, I'm headed toward the negative direction. Okay, that's just kind of a little reminder for you. You want to look at more or less and then positive or negative. That'll tell you which direction your number line should be headed. The other thing I want to look at real quick before we get too far in is something called a zero pair. You can go ahead and write zero pair. Zero pair is a positive and a negative together. It's a pair of something. It's two things. And when you combine them, they equal 0. Thus a zero pair. If I have $1 and I give $1 away, I now have 0. So getting $1 and losing $1 combined, that's a zero pair. Having one positive and one negative, they're going to cancel each other out. They form 0, and so it has no value. Let's look at a couple of examples. We are going to look at the number line and we're going to make counter models, so we'll see what both of these look like. Okay? Anytime I have my number line, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my positive I'm going to mark my negative. And I want to draw a picture of -3 plus 2. -3 plus 2. Every number line starts at 0. So I'm going to start it right here at 0. And the first number is where I'm going to go to first. So the first place I'm going to go to is -3. Sometimes you'll see arrows, sometimes you'll see a flat line, it doesn't really matter, but you need to stop at that -3. Okay, now I want more positive. If I want more positive, that means I want to go toward the positive. I want my number line to head back this direction. And how many times do I want to do that? Well, I want twice. So I'm going to go back in the positive direction 2 times. Notice I didn't go back in the positive direction until I got to 2. I moved 2 spaces in the positive direction, and I ended right here at -1. So -3 plus 2 equals -1. There's another way to look at this, though. We can do counter models. Counter models, what do I start with? I start with negatives and positives. So draw yourself a little key. I'm going to make a dark circle equal a negative and an open circle equal a positive. You can make that the other way if you want to. This is how you'll normally see it. You just always need to make sure you check the key if you're working on a worksheet or something with counter models. Okay, so I want 3 negatives. And, plus means more, and I want 2 positives. Okay, this is a picture of -3 plus 2. Remember when we talked about zero pairs just a second ago, though? A positive and a negative, when you put them together, what do they equal? Well, they equal 0. So a positive and a negative together equals 0. A positive and a negative together equals 0. And then I'm left with -1. Well, 0 plus 0 plus -1 equals -1. Do you see how whether we did it with the number line or the counter models, we're still going to get -1 on that one? I want you to try the second example on your own. I want you to remember this is going to be less negative. And I want you to try the number line portion on your own. The counter model piece we're going to do together in class because this is a little bit different. So you try this number line, and then we will do the counter in class. Okay? Thank you for doing your homework, and we'll see you in class tomorrow.